It was like one of the seasons they do that now.
Yeah.
They got rid of the whole gypsum kiln thing. On the other hand, I fucking hated that system as well. Such a pain.
They can't win.
I know they can't, and I know they're still trying, but I just, even as someone who's meant to represent them.
Oh yeah, you're sponsored.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
Yeah, I've openly said this to many people within that community as well, that New World need to get a grip on what they want to actually fucking do. It went from being the most tedious, boring endgame system in the world to now literally it's just buy it. So go farm some gold. There you go. You can go do a top mutation. But then you've got another guy who's skilled. He's played the game since launch. He knows exactly everything he's doing, but he's grinding it. He's not buying stuff off the auction house because he wants to get the right rolls and whatever. He's taking his time. He's going through the mutations. He could probably go into that higher tier and at least survive if it wasn't gonna, you know, do 200% more damage to it. I just think it's a backwards system they've got going at the minute.
They're kind of slowly trying to get rid of all PvPers from what I saw, because predominantly after the game died, only PvPers stayed, and that was the only decent part about the game. Well, for myself at least.
No, that was the general gist of it. Like, all the politics and everything, like, it was all centered around the PvP on the game. Like, there was a thriving community at least at the time. Like a year or so.
Yeah, but they're trying to kill it seems like.
They've strangled it, mate. They've strangled it in a back alley. It is thoroughly upsetting to see, because I did enjoy the fucking New World combat and the PvP in general.
Yeah, same.
Totally different style of healing that I was never exposed to before. Like, it was insane. I had to fucking skill shot my shit to optimize it. I had to make sure that I'm not wasting CDs, because you only got 3 skills. There was a skill ceiling that I hit very early, and I had to find other people who had broken through that ceiling in order to get advice. But yeah, it just seems that they can't get a core identity attached to the game. If they just went full PvP, it would have been fucking amazing.
You had to get good, like what you're saying there. It sounds harsh to some people because they don't like that term, but that was the whole point of New World, was you had to learn. It was a brand new game. You had to figure things out for yourself. And like you say, you only get 3 skills. You couldn't bash a load of defensives like you can on WoW. You couldn't get out of situations without figuring it out yourself. And it actually took time to really get to, like you say, break through that cap or that ceiling and figure out exactly what your identity was, never mind what the game's identity was. You know, you had to figure out for yourself, like, oh, I want to do this, or I need to play like this.
I would like to move us into kind of another topic. It links to this one. What do you guys think about changing core mechanics of the game when it was already out for a year or 2, and people had gear for the current thingies and did them fine, right? But when you change, let's say, a gearing system, majority of the people lose that set gear. Kind of restarting players by adding by adding a new system, or restarting a current one, or adding something massive to the new one, like New World did with new bricks and stuff like that. Because I personally lost 2 million gold in bruiser gear to a new system.
It does devalue literally everything when you do not have the same kind of advantage from the armor. I don't think they really considered that, right? The fact that people have spent a literally double amount of max gold on an item. That item just, next patch, becomes useless, you know? Of course, those people that have that kind of money and in the economy of a PvP based server, that is very common to have that kind of money, but it's still very, very upsetting to see that. I don't even want to log in because I don't want to see the damage on my account.
Did any other game do that sort of mistake? Did WoW ever do that?
What, devalue something till it becomes useless?
I think every single MMO.
Technically, you're doing that every time you raise the level cap.
I don't think it devaluing it in that sense.
Depends. If you can upgrade that gear, then no. If you cannot upgrade that gear, and if you cannot add perks, then you are heavily devaluing it.
But the trade-off of that devaluation of that said tier set, whatever, is that you get a whole new fucking game. A whole new expansion, like more often than not, you know? New World,
2 million gold back.
With New World, right? Do I see Rise of the Earth as a expansion, as they call it? No. I'll be honest, not really. There's not really much. It's just reskins. I was impressed in some of the quest boss, right? I remember watching some stuff on it, saw that there was quest boss and with actual mechanics and shit. I am glad that they're moving in that kind of direction in terms of PvE. but you do not have to kill PvP at the same time.
You can't have both.
Don't know how they're gonna actually recover. They probably have their community now that's just never gonna leave, right? If they're there and they've been through all that shit and they're still there, I think that they're just never gonna leave. It's their game, you know. I'm not gonna bash them for that. Like, they do what makes you happy, but there are so many cracks within that fucking game that it just seems a bit lost at the moment.
I didn't realize, I just recently looked at this the other day. I looked at the Steam charts for New World and I didn't realize it was as low as it actually was. I knew it was obviously going to be a lot lower, but I think I'm not trying to defend the game.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We will not shoot you.
A lot of people will just see a Steam chart like as a graph and go, ah, yeah, the game's dying. But if you actually look at it, the reason it looks like it's on such a decline is because of just that initial spike it had when it first launched. You know, when everyone thought it was going to be the best new game ever.
Yeah.
I think it hit like it was over 900,000 players on a specific date. Now they're averaging like 20,000. In retrospect, is not a small, it's not as big as some MMOs, like don't get us wrong, but it's nowhere near enough to be like on the verge of being pulled out or pulled off the table completely. I think New World gets a lot more stick than it does deserve it. I'm not going to not say that. I think a lot of people just see that, and because there was such a big number at the start, it's very easy to just be like, oh yeah, it's a dead game. Like over the last year, they still had lost viewers. I think they'd lost like players. Sorry, I think they'd went from like average of 36,000 down to 22,000. I think so. They're still doing something wrong, but I think like there is that consistent like 20-odd thousand people who are still logging in every day and playing every day, and that's their game and that's what they enjoy,
Which is not a bad number.
Fair enough.
It's actually not a bad number.